How does one tech video, take 6 months to make? Find out in this video. Hello everyone, I'm Jacob Kaufman with Nerd on the Street, and today I'd like to talk about the behind the scenes for a video that I am about to upload to the tech channel, hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow. That video is going to be an unboxing of the BenQ PD3200U monitor. I believe that's the model, and the monitor is actually sitting over there right now on the floor, not plugged in, ironically. But I've been using the monitor for like 6 months. It works great. I love the monitor. I made an unboxing of it, and I actually got this monitor. Let me tell you a little story. I got this monitor right when it came out, like right when this monitor was announced. When it was released, I was one of the first people to buy it because I was in the market for a new monitor. It is a 4K monitor, and I almost got the previous version, but I saw a new version would be coming out, and unboxings always do better when the product is brand new. So I went ahead and I waited until the new model came out, the PD3200U. It arrived in its box. I made an unboxing of it. And I planned to get that unboxing out like right away, right? Because I literally got it on day one of the release. Great marketing opportunity for making a video on it. Instead, I ended up blowing about 6 months worth of work and having an unboxing that will probably get very few views because this monitor is a niche product. Even though it is a high-end monitor and it works great, it's a very expensive monitor. Not everybody is in the market for one of these. So now that it's been out for about 6 months and other people have already done videos about it, and it took them a few weeks after I got mine. It took other people a few weeks to make their videos about it. But now that other people have, probably not a whole lot of people are going to be watching my unboxing. But if I got this monitor on day one of the release and I made the unboxing immediately, why did it take me this long to get the video out? Well, I talked a little bit about this at the Nerd on the Street 5-year live stream. But basically, in the unboxing video, there was a poster in the background of the shot. And that poster was hanging up near my desk. It is a RWBY poster, and RWBY is an anime-esque show that Rooster Teeth makes. I got that specific poster at RTX 2016. Me and Adam from the Creative Channel, we traveled down together. We drove together to Austin, Texas, way back July 2016. And one of the things I did at RTX that year was I bought that poster, and then I got it signed by Miles, Luna, and Carrie Shawcross, two of the higher profile employees at Rooster Teeth. It was one of the coolest parts of the whole trip for me, was seeing them. So that poster, because it is signed by people who I admire and I bought it in Austin, Texas, that poster obviously means a lot to me. However, I am fully aware that if you don't know that I bought it in Texas and you don't know that it's signed, it might just look like I've got an anime poster on my wall. And one thing that I've always held to here at Nerd on the Street is that I am a nerd, not a geek. So I did not want to have an anime poster on my wall in the background of a video, not in my bedroom. You know, I think I might have showed that poster in the basement back at the old Nerd on the Street studio before, but it's one thing having a poster on the wall if you've got a studio. It's another thing entirely if it's your bedroom. I didn't want to look geeky, so for people who didn't know the background behind that poster, basically I decided I was going to blur the poster out. And I didn't want it to look blurred out. I didn't want it to look censored because that draws more attention to it. The whole point was I didn't want people looking at that. Now, there were points of the video where I was standing right in front of the poster and talking, so I could not just cut it out. I couldn't just crop the video, but I decided to go ahead and attempt to make it look out of focus by blurring it out slightly for the entire video. Now, because I'm in front of the poster, I can't just blur out the poster box. Because then I would look blurred out in front of it, and then you would be able to tell that I'm blurring it out. Once again, I wanted it to look out of focus. I didn't want to draw attention to it. I wanted to take attention away from it. So in order to make the effect of the poster being blurred out, but me moving around in front of it not being blurred out, I had to do something called rotoscoping. You've probably heard about rotoscoping before. If you haven't, basically what it is going frame by frame. Every single frame in the video, and this was a 30 frames per second video, so for every second I had to do 30 frames. But basically taking each frame, treating it as a picture, and then tracing an outline of whatever is in front of the poster, usually me. Sometimes a box, which was much easier because boxes are flat. So a box, I can just do a straight line from point A to point B to rotoscope that. But when I'm in front of the poster, you know, I have to make the curves around my shoulder and my face and everything around me if the poster was right behind me. And then I'm constantly moving about in videos too, because I'm a very emphatic talker. I talk with my hands a lot and I move around a lot when I'm talking. So of course I'm moving around a lot in front of this poster, and the rotoscoping for that was very, very difficult. It took several passes to rotoscope this video, but basically what it comes down to is I blurred the entire video, then I cropped the blur to the poster, and then I rotoscoped myself out of the blur. So this went like four different layers deep, and the last layer was what took the longest, rotoscoping myself out. Now I could not have done it without Blender, because Blender, not only is it more stable in Kdenlive, I can also zoom in, which you can't do in Kdenlive. The controls are much better than Kdenlive's rotoscoping controls specifically. Blender was a joy for rotoscoping. If I ever have to rotoscope something again, I'm going to be using Blender. That said, I am never going to rotoscope anything again, for the tech channel at least, for the foreseeable future. But yeah, no, this rotoscoping project was way, way above, I just didn't have the time for it. I started this when I was still in school, barely getting anything else done for Nerd on the Street during this entire process, because it's like the more I'm working on other things, the less I'm rotoscoping. So we were doing like rolling release, and we were doing one or two other things, but basically this entire summer was just rotoscoping. And here I am, it's like the second to last week of summer, school starts in like a week and a half. Yeah, I'm finally done. I finished the video up a few days ago. Now, during one point of it, during like halfway through the summer, I was like, this has gone on long enough. I've been rotoscoping way too long. I'm going to go ahead and do a live stream where I finish all of the rotoscoping. So I did this live stream where I rotoscoped for 5 hours. I just sat there with music playing, and I rotoscoped for 5 hours. And some people showed up to the live stream. They left shortly after when they saw how boring it was. Now, in this live stream, what I was doing was going into Blender, rotoscoping one frame, rendering it out, bringing it into Kdenlive, repeat. It is worth mentioning that before I finished this project, I switched over to doing 10 frames at a time. So I would go into Blender, keyframe, and render 10 frames. I would rotoscope, render, rotoscope, render, rotoscope, render in Blender. And then I would go to Kdenlive, drag 10 frames into Kdenlive's bin at once, and then drag those 10 frames onto the timeline at once. I didn't want to break it down any more than that, because I was still checking every single frame, because sometimes I would miss something in Blender that once it got into Kdenlive, I was like, wow, that part that I rotoscoped out should not have been rotoscoped out, or wow, I really should have rotoscoped that extra piece in. When you're looking at still images, it's surprisingly different than when you're looking at an entire video. But yeah, I ended up switching to going 10 frames at a time. It sped it up a lot. Still took an extremely long time though. But just for this 5 hours, I thought I was going to get the whole thing done. I barely made a dent in it. But just for your viewing pleasure, I'm going to go ahead and show you this 5-hour live stream of me sitting there rotoscoping in 5 minutes. Hopefully you can get a gist of what exactly I was doing from this montage. Hopefully you can tell what I'm doing because it's going to be sped up a lot. But without further ado, here you go. Here is 5 hours of rotoscoping in 5 minutes. So that was it. That was 5 hours of rotoscoping in 5 minutes. At that point, I gave up. I said, all right, maybe I'm not going to finish tonight. And that was like the end of June or the beginning of July, around there, I think, if not earlier in the summer. And yeah, this rotoscoping video, it's just so, it was an oversight on my part. It was a bad decision on my part. I have learned a very valuable lesson. The rotoscoping is not worth it for a tech video. You know, if I had uploaded this video on day one, just left the poster in, yes, people might think I'm a geek for having an anime poster on my wall, but at least I would get a lot of views from the people searching for this brand new product. Whereas now that I have gone through the months and months of effort of rotoscoping this, it's going to get way less views because of that. And of course, now I'm drawing attention to the poster anyway by posting a separate video all about it. So you know what was on the wall, even though it's blurred out of the actual video. But I have learned my lesson. In the future, I will either A, try and make sure that the poster's not in the camera shot to begin with so I don't have to worry about it, or B, just cut your losses and leave the poster in the video and just upload it, ship it, because we can't afford to spend 6 months on a video here at Nerd on the Street. We cannot afford that. However, when I was like 3 months in and I thought about quitting, I was like, you know what? It would actually make the last 3 months a waste if I quit now. Because then you would see the poster in the video, and that would be a waste of my past 3 months. I had to finish it. Once I had spent an unreasonable amount of time on it, then I had to finish it, you know, that much more surely to justify all the previous time I had spent on it. And it turned out really well. I am really happy with the way it turned out. Never doing it again. So yeah, if you have any questions about rotoscoping, I might make a video. I think I probably will just make a video on how to rotoscope in Blender in the future. The point of this video was not necessarily a technical behind the scenes thing. That would be more on the tech channel. This was just a montage, just a glimpse of the work that I had to go through for this video. But yeah, I will make a how to rotoscope in Blender video probably in the future in the tech channel. Let me know if you're interested in that. If you have any questions, you can always reach me on the Nerd on the Street forums at nerdonthestreet.com. And why, you might ask, is my computer currently on the floor, and why am I sitting on the floor here in a completely different room? Well, that's a different video. So I will see you guys in the next one. I'm Jacob Kaufman with Nerd on the Street. I'll see you guys later. Bye.